supposed to represent the biotech industry? 6 companies? I just don't trust this weird... Yeah, I don't know where this weird data comes from. Symphony Health? It's not very good for biopharma. And I have no idea why this weird 5 weird companies come up. We are going to be turning off our unpaid tier for now. If you're a free user, we have too many free users and they've been bugging our servers. So we're just gonna turn you guys off for a minute. Paid users only. We'll have the free tier back, but paid users only for now. I mean, I don't know when, but yeah, that's the executive decision. We have a lot of users who use the free tier, so it's a little frustrating, but not really ready for that kind of scale. And I think that's why most people don't have a free tier. So if you try to log into like, other than Yahoo Finance, who obviously has scale, like if you try to go to like one of our rivals, like you really do have to go through, you have to be paid to use their product for most of them. So we do have a trial. Yeah, I mean, we just have too much traffic. Our system's really complex. So when you're dealing with that traffic, you just have to, I think, either find a way to scale up and deal with it or find a way to scale down. And I think I'll scale down a little. No, Michael, I don't think any of that was interesting. Like none of that was useful for me. And I study pharma pretty closely. So we have a Bloomberg for obvious reasons. We don't use it for investing. I mean, honestly, unless you have a credit card on file, we're not gonna let you in for now. Maybe we'll change that for a little bit. We have a lot of investors. I think we need engineers more than investors. Yeah, we just have servers like melting down from our usage and a lot of memory leaks, and we just need some time to restructure our systems a bit. So we've been just like building on top of like pretty bad foundation. So we'll have to re-architect a bit there, but I mean, growth pains are good. Yeah, we have all the access to institutions we need. I don't really like VCs. I think they're very like useless to deal with. I think NVIDIA is roughly the right price. Yeah, I do think we need an infrastructure guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't really like taking money from venture guys that are less successful than I am, or as successful. It's, you know, they're like 85 no's for 1 yes, and it's like I don't put myself through that for no reason. For the longest time, YouTube has been the #2 website in the world, and Google's been the #1 website in the world. Yeah, we're on AWS. I don't know that you have to make that decision. If you like Google, you can buy Google. You don't have to sell something to buy something else. You got to sell something to buy something else, and you got a bigger problem. Yeah, there's all kinds of issues with bottlenecks and memory and all this stuff. And I think the simplest solution, like we really want people to be able to use their product all they want, but nobody else does that. So it's just easier to wall it off to paid customers only, which is, we should be doing that all along. That would actually lower our costs. So I think it's a good decision for now, at least. Yeah, we don't do any remote work if we can help it. There's some people I've known from like a past life or something like that, and I'll work with them. But even then, I still want them to come to New York a lot. And interns are kind of useless too. We pay a lot for interns and they don't really do much. Some of them are good programmers, but like the fact that they leave kind of just throws the value down the drain. I don't want to give you my knowledge. Why would that help me? How could that help me? Think about what you're saying. It sounds crazy. You just told me you're in London. You didn't hear me for the last hour tell you that we don't do remote? Yeah, interns don't do very much for me. I'm trying to find talented executives, not interns. I mean, landing any high-powered, high-paying job is difficult. Well, we only hire people in New York, like I said. So if you're not in New York, stop asking me questions. I'm trying to focus on something else. The only way I would do it, I would say, is if they worked for like the exact similar, kind of company, like a perfect fit, then I might. But even then, they'd be like I think they'd be very disadvantaged because there's plenty of financial firms in New York that we can hire from. Goldman, whatever. One sec. Yeah, I think we're fine for now. Yahoo Finance traffic's down. Love to see it. Love to see it. Hope your traffic goes to 0. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm flattered, but you should be able to find a job at a company in your city that you like and it pays you well. If you can't find that, then maybe don't force something that's not a good fit. When I look at data, I like to really look at it. All right, Instagram's #4 website globally. In the US, flip back to 7 from 8. No, it's just web traffic, literally just web traffic, no app traffic. There's a separate database traffic. No specific thoughts on ADMA, still like the stock. Wikipedia dropped a little bit, still a big website. I don't think I'm going to become the CEO of Chegg. I'm not sure I want to be. I mean, their numbers are looking ugly. They need me more than I need them. I get those numbers up. I do the Chegg challenge. I'd get some Hooters girls that were just fired from the bankruptcy. I'd call them the Cheggettes. I'd get the Chegg chuds. Best grades on Chegg, you become the Chegg chud. Chegg chud of the year. Bro, I'm just full of good ideas. These guys need me. I mean, I tend to let smart people do their jobs and not micromanage. But once things start going a little left, I jump in. The Chegg chads. Maybe not chuds. Are you Chad or Chud? Join Chegg. Yeah, man. I'm the best. See, that's just off the rip, off the dome. Yeah, Yahoo traffic is definitely dropping. Yeah, we'll do an Excel plugin. LinkedIn went up a little, and Microsoft's good, man. They take a site like LinkedIn and make it really exciting. Kind of amazing. Mobile app, I mean, there could be some use, but you just got to think about how. I can't believe eBay's still so popular. Zillow is also just a gigantic website. I wouldn't worry too much about taxes when you're trading. It's part of the game. I don't think the passive investing causes a bubble. The market's pretty good at figuring out valuations. Yeah, try to pay as much taxes as you can. I would agree with that. See how ChatGPT's traffic's going. Okay. ChatGPT was 41st, now it's 17th. It's pretty good. Globally, it's gone from 19 to 13. Knocking off Craigslist, Bing, Etsy, Weather, PayPal. Not easy to beat weather.com. Everything has a price. You just have to know the valuation and all that, because you don't buy a stock just because it exists. You buy a stock because the price is at a certain price that's attractive. Haven't I taught you guys anything? Imagine asking somebody, do you want to buy Facebook stock? Well, what price? At $1? Yeah, I want to buy it. At $1 million a share? No, I don't want to buy it. I don't know what that alphabet's worth. I got to do more work, but I kind of like it. It's reasonable valuation. If what they're spending on CapEx is going to generate a return, which I think it will, Google's not stupid. It's pretty cheap. You should be able to get at least 50%. Thinking about whether you can get 100. Cerebras coming. They might have canceled that IPO, dogs. I think we could see we could see like Cerebras and CoreWeave go public. Okay, this site has dropped a lot. It's sometimes called the Hub. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't know about how long. Remember, there's no like, when you analyze the fair value of something, there's no implicit like time to how long the arb will close or something, right? That's sort of a different department, different investing department. You got to go to the trader department. Walmart.com has slipped one. Surprised Walmart.com has used, if there's any public traffic on, any global traffic on that. I mean, Walmart doesn't really have too many stores outside the US. It's a little sus. The way most of these sites work is like they look at VPN traffic and they sort of extrapolate. Craigslist has dropped dramatically. Bing.com. How's Bing doing? Bing is big in China, apparently. I guess they don't have Google, so it makes sense. Bing climbed from 31 to 23. Not bad. US fell from 18 to 19, but climbed big internationally. Yeah, if you don't know the source, then don't ask. Make it hot. You're making it hot. JD was like, I'm going in for the kill. JD said,
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
I guess he was auditioning to be the next president, so made sense. You come here, listen, you come here to the Oval Office. You think you can disrespect America? Ooh. You better apologize right now. USA, USA. DuckDuckGo dropped a whole bunch of spots as well. But you know, there was a lot of, Randy Orton had to pay for that one. Anybody ever purposefully go to live.com? It's like this old Microsoft site that still has massive amount of traffic. I think it's because it's like preloaded on one of the browsers. And DuckDuckGo fell off. So the biggest weird website that I don't know much about is Fandom. It's like some anime thing or something. You guys know it? Is it more of a... Maybe it's not an anime thing. It's like probably the biggest privately held traffic thing. Yeah, it's mostly wikis for like video games or other things. It bounces around. It gets a lot of traffic. It seemed like pretty incremental, but again, these releases, like, they become harder and harder to tell like what's good and what isn't, because like the differentiator are like these really tough questions that after a while it's like, okay, I'm getting what I need. Like, I don't know if I need a really smart model. My day-to-day doesn't really require that many smart questions. Oh wow, MicrosoftOnline.com. This site has gone up a lot. Maybe they're like steering some of their other like Edge, or what browser do they have now? Is it still Edge? Yeah, okay. Then we have Netflix, Pinterest, Chase, PayPal, Weather, Etsy, Indeed, CNN, New York Times, MSN, AOL, chat, some weird chat website I'm not going to say the full name of. Well, Netflix picked up in global rank quite a bit, actually, and in US rank. The wrong thing. Okay, yeah, no, that's not the case. So Netflix actually fell 4 spots in global and 2 spots in US. The question on Google is like, how do they grow, ads? Some of it's price, some of it's, growing inventory. But inventory to me would mean traffic, right? And I have session times, but like it looks like Google's grown well, and Reddit's grown while Yahoo and Facebook have shrunk. Instagram's grown quite a bit. TikTok grew. Probably the biggest winner in all this is ChatGPT. Bing has also done okay, and looks like Netflix as well. Summit and Pfizer, sure. Did they do like a supply agreement? This was on the 24th? Granted. Yeah, I mean, they're basically just doing combination studies. By doing clinical trials together, Pfizer is hoping that they can get some of their drugs kind of like, I guess like part of a treatment regimen that works really well. So like if that's going to be the next big drug, you want to combine your drug with their drug so that doctors say, oh yeah, this plus this is really good. Yeah, I mean, anybody, as long as the capital's there and they have real capital. The problem is a lot of these guys don't have the capital they say they do. But if it's a $5 billion fund incubating you, you're in good shape. You just have to take the credibility of your incubator seriously. Yeah, I like more Rigetti short, but I don't know. Sometimes they'll get they'll get like a request for 1 million shares of it or something.
Partially filled.
And they'll try to fill the request to another bank on Wall Street. Perplexity is doing a browser. Yeah, there was another company, MindMed. Like, I think a lot of people are bored of these psychiatric companies. They're just like, they have no IP. They're really hard phase 3s to do. It's not clear docs are going to love using these drugs. Level 2 plus indications of interest plus the FINRA alternative display facility. Those are all things we would like to do, and we're working on sort of the next sort of iteration of equities. One thing I've learned about women over the years is that you really want to prioritize your happiness. That's the number. I mean, you're trying to prioritize a couple different things, right? But prioritizing your happiness is pretty important. You look at Sydney Sweeney, you say, gosh, I wish I was married to Sydney Sweeney. And you might spend 10 minutes with her and say, get me away from this person. You have no idea. So you find somebody that you really love. I mean, that's it. That's all you need. Don't worry about anything else. And they love you, and you have fun together, and you like the same stuff, and that kind of thing. Everything else is, I think we place a lot of importance on the things that kind of don't matter that much. We don't get too much time. So if you can get a lot of joy and happiness out of life, that's what you want. Yeah, marry your best friend, even if they're male. Let's be friends, dog. You're my best friend. Let's be together forever. No. So we're not all engineers, for what it's worth. 4 of us are co-founders and don't need to be paid. We have revenue. That helps. I take Peter Thiel's advice, don't pay any engineer more than $150K. I think we have one guy we're bringing on that's going to be more than that, but I'm not paying somebody 500K base or something. We've raised more money since just the pre-seed. We're raising a seed. We've raised like half of it or something. No, we hand out a lot of equity. We're very generous equity. I want all my boys and girls to win big. I'm not one of these guys that's giving out 3 basis points. Here you go. I know people that don't give out any equity. Why would your people come to work? I mean, look, if it's a pre-seed company, you're trying to pay as little as possible because you got to pay for the other expenses you have at the company. But if somebody's a co-founder, technical co-founder, I mean, 60-40, 80-20, those are all pretty good splits. You don't want to win that negotiation pretty hard, right? Because the person will be miserable. And if it's your first company, it doesn't really matter if you have 60% or 80% or 30% or 10%. If you get out at $1 billion, you're happy no matter what. Yeah, you need a vesting schedule. That's definitely... Yeah, if you're not giving equity out, your company's going to fail. That's how I feel. Maybe if you really need a job, the job market's real spooky, you might say, okay, I need to pay my bills this month. I need to pay for that Robinhood account. I need to pay for these leaps. I need to pay for these Rigetti call options. What if Rigetti goes to 40? Then I'm a millionaire. Right? Right? I mean, it went from 1 to 10. It could go from 10 to 100. And if it goes from 100 to 1,000, I'm a billionaire. Just keep rolling my call options. Well, you can find this list in my on my GitHub. It's the world's largest market caps. It's under the screens folder. So it's every stock in the world, 1,800 stocks above 10 billion ranked by market cap. Don't worry, we're getting crypto data. Don't worry. All right, so the total equity value of all these companies, holy, 104 trillion. You got people talking about billions. I'm talking about trillion. 103 trillion. Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't know the RIA business that great. A bunch of people in our Discord know that business better than me. And some of my colleagues know that business better than me, but it's not really my expertise. I just want to make sure I know the top 250 to 500 companies in the world. Pretty important to me. Is that okay with you? Do I have your permission? If I try to short China or exploit the Chinese stock market, I think they'd probably grab me and be like, Mr. Shkreli, you think you could you exploit Chinese stock market? Now we have you. You will never see America again. The only question, Mr. Shkreli, are you willing to work for us? Or would you like to go to jail again? Mr. Shkreli, you could have started the Chinese Jane Street with government approval. Now you will rot. By the way, we have your kitten. I might look at some big drug companies just so I get a little bit more current because I feel like I'm a little behind. I didn't know Raymond James has such a big market cap. I guess they have a big brokerage business. Okay, so I was gonna look at Gilead because I haven't looked at it in a while, and it's a pretty big, important drug company. So Gilead is the big HIV player. The stock's been on a tear. So Biktarvy, amazing growth given how big this drug has gotten. Trailing 12 months, almost 13 billion revenue. Really impressive. Look at how much they're selling of this, still selling of COVID drugs. That makes that IVVD stock kind of attractive. Yescarta is flat. Yescarta, CAR-T. I mean, 1.5 billion is not bad for a brand new kind of drug, but Trodelvy sounds so much like troll, the first ever drug for us trolls. Trodelvy. These vaccines aren't that good, but they're not bad for you. They're just not that protective. But you can't be scared of a little RNA. I mean, it's not dangerous. It's a lot of anti-science, anti-authority, which I am very anti-authority. But it's kind of like one of those things where somebody says, you're a kid, somebody says, do X. No, I'm not going to do X. Why not? Because you told me to, so I'm not going to do it. Okay. Yeah, most of these vaccines are very, 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 very safe because you only take them once. I mean, human body is pretty indestructible. You don't, oh wow, huge growth continued for, I wonder how big 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗏 is still growing this much. It's kind of crazy. 13.4 billion TTM. I mean, they're just not dangerous, Any drug you take once, it's like almost impossible for it to be dangerous. Drugs can sometimes be dangerous because you take them over and over and over again every day for the rest of your life. But drugs that you don't have to take every day, like vaccines, is like literally almost nothing bad that can happen. I think people just have this like very self-centered view, as they should. It's their health, so. But it's like, you got much greater health challenges than the potential vaccine side effects. Change your genotype. It would be pretty hard for that to happen. It's kind of a one-directional flow from DNA, which is your genes, to RNA, which is this like intermediate. This is called does anybody know what this is called? To protein. Anybody know what this is called? The canon, the central dogma of biology. This kind of gets left alone, but in this sort of factory, you sort of sneaking in you got billions of these things, right? Per second being translated to proteins, literally billions. So you just sneak in some of the COVID RNA and you get the protein, you make an immune response to the protein, and you're vaccinated. And that's really it. Now you can give a protein vaccine too, and there's a bunch of those out there. I think J&J's is a protein vaccine. I think the COVID vaccine was probably the most tested vaccine of all time. Those trials were massive, like 50,000 patients or more. Never see a clinical trial that big. I think they did a good job testing it. I was just surprised it worked, honestly. Like, I was really surprised it worked because the data is like almost like too good to be true. It's like, and then in the real world, the data was like not that good. So, well, your mind can play tricks on you. I don't think your heart was racing because you took the vaccine. The vaccine has 30 micrograms of RNA. So microgram is a very small amount. That's a millionth, right? One millionth of a gram. So really talking about like maybe a couple grains of sugar, like three grains of salt or sugar. I mean, if you think that's that dangerous, I don't think it's possible that if you're getting an intramuscular injection of RNA would result in you feeling weird or something like that. Like people, when you get stabbed, I mean, you're getting literally stabbed. Yeah, lots of things happen. I mean, you get anxiety, things like that. I mean, that's normal. A lot of adults don't take vaccines regularly, so of course that's going to feel weird. But it's not what's inside the vaccine. It's very hard for there to be too many long-term side effects because I want to say within seconds, all the vaccine's gone. So like by the time the day has passed, there's no vaccine left. So it's hard for it to cause these really big long-term side effects. Now, the antigenicity could, theoretically have some kind of like crosstalk. I don't know. It's not something I worry about. You guys remember me following the 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏 saga. I mean, I'm a bloodhound when it comes to these like little inaccuracies. Look, unless they're lying, that's the other option. Is like I said, that data was so good. The New England Journal data. It's just like, I almost dropped my New England Journal. Works this well? Because I thought maybe you could get 50% protection or something like that, but it's like 95% protection or something. It's insane. Well, if you cut your dividend and everyone thought you were going to cut your dividend, then kind of a nothing burger because the company maybe wasn't doing well and I'm surprised that they're cutting it, for example. That would be one way. It's asymptomatic. That's interesting. I didn't hear that. I thought it was still pretty bad. But the funny thing about that RNA is that most of it's like degraded and lost by the time it gets to the liver. A lot of it'll like end up sort of stuck in a little pool in your arm before it gets degraded. It's not, it's not an IV, so it still has to kind of go through the muscle. And it's in a liponanoparticle. And the only thing that takes up the liponanoparticle is the liver. Well, I got good news. The liver is like indestructible. It's like literally your body's, toxic waste disposal. It's got every Swiss Army knife to dispose of waste. So your liver's not going to get damaged. Like your liver's job is to take damage. Like your liver takes it on the chin when you go out drinking with the boys. The liver will take that RNA and turn some of it into protein. But there's also, tons of proteases and nucleases the nucleases and proteases are cutting up that RNA very quickly, because you're not supposed to really have RNA coming from outside inside, but that's what happens every time we get infected. So it's pretty antigenic. I mean, it's such a strong immune response. I was shocked. I did not enjoy it. There were many classical vaccines developed, the Johnson & Johnson, the AstraZeneca. In fact, I think there were more classical protein vaccines than there were mRNA vaccines. mRNA had never succeeded, so I was like super skeptical, and I was wrong. Yeah, it's unfortunate that not enough people took it, so that there wasn't a chance to get great immunity. And then sometimes with vaccines, it's just bad luck. Like, you don't get the virus kind of behaving the way you want it. You know, so mutations will generally weaken the virus, but you'll also kind of like, the vaccine will lose efficacy. So yeah, the liver thing I've been talking about is really a big drawback, because if you can only send stuff to the liver, there's only so many liver diseases. So you can't cure a lung disease if the drug's only, oh great, ever going to liver. I gotta go, guys.